Hello, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. I'm Deb from DG Reads and it's time for another book haul. Bookmail always slows down a little bit at the beginning of the year, but it has been picking up quite steadily recently. It's also been a lot of book shopping because I had a rough start to the year and some retail therapy may have been involved. But without further ado, let's get into the books. First, I'm going to start with the ones I was gifted, and then we'll move on to where I spent a little bit too much money. First off, I have The Dollhouse Academy by Margarita Montemor, and this is one that the author reached out to me and asked if I would like to receive an advance copy. This one actually just came out in February. I got it basically on release day, and I really have enjoyed this author in the past, so this one has had me very intrigued. This is a gifted copy from Flatiron. This one says that it's about two aspiring actresses who attend the Dollhouse Academy where stars are made and secrets are kept. Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear by Shauna McGuire is the most recent book in the Wayward Children series. I am not fully caught up on this series, but I have been considering picking up a bunch of these during the Gala of Peace during Realmathon next month, the readathon hosted by Covers with Cassidy, and having this has me very much looking forward to catching up in the series. I received a copy of this one from Tor.com. Then I have an ARC for Saltwater by Katie Hayes. This one comes out on March 25th, and I have a gifted copy from Valentine Books. Just looking at the cover, this seems like a perfect one to consider taking on my vacation with me. I'm essentially shopping during this haul for things for my TBR and my vacation. This one says it is following a wealthy family haunted by an iconic crime whose annual trip to Italy is shattered when a member of their party disappears. Then I have Harmattan series by Tochi Onyabuchi, and I probably am really slaughtering that. I apologize. This is a standalone fantasy novel. It's a detective noir as well, so I am highly intrigued by this. I have a gifted copy from Tor, and this one comes out in May. Next up, I have a gifted book from Scribner, and that is Wildfire Days, A Woman, a Hotshot Crew in the Burning American West by Kelly Ramsey. This one comes out in June, and the timing of this was pretty much perfectly aligned with the wildfires we just had in Los Angeles, and I think knowing and being informed about some of what goes on is something that I definitely want to read. A gifted copy from Delacorte Press, I have A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. This is a book that I definitely am looking forward to. I really enjoy Adrienne Young's atmospheric writing. This one has a sister investigating the death of her brother, and I'm just intrigued to check it out. And then from Del Rey, I received an ARC for Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. This is an author I really enjoyed in the past, and this one has some academic vibes to it. Sounds like some darker vibes. This one comes out in July, and it is a chunky book, so it's probably going to take me a little bit of time to get through, but I'm super excited to get to it. From Tor, I have another March release, and that is When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi. This is an author that really has a fun sense of humor, and I've enjoyed reading his books quite a bit. In this case, we have a moon that's literally made of cheese, and I am intrigued. From Bantam Books, I have A Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage by Asia McKay, and this one says it's about two former serial killers trying to get their secrets buried, and calls it a thriller, so I am looking forward to checking this out. It sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. From Vintage Books, I received Why We Remember, Unlocking Memory's Power to Hold On to What Matters by Charan Ranganath, PhD. And this one called to me. It's a nonfiction book, obviously, and as someone who has had Alzheimer's touch my family and just memory problems in general, I think this sounded really fascinating. It says it's both entertaining and scientifically interesting, so I'm looking forward to reading this. From Del Rey, I received The Endless War by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the fourth book, I believe. I could be wrong about that. In the Bridge Kingdom series. Yes, it says book 4 at the top. I am actually filming this during Romantasyathon, hosted by Tori Between Pages, and the first book in the series is finally on my TBR for this particular readathon, so I'm super hyped to binge this whole series. And then for Scribner, I received The Perfect Home by Danielle Kennitz, and this one says it's a propulsive thriller set in the world of home renovation, which is something I definitely enjoy in a TV setting, so excited to try a fiction novel for it. From Bantam, I received Dead Money by Jacob Kerr, and this one is following a problem solver for a high-tech CEO in Silicon Valley, and it sounds like the problem solver gets a bit over their head and sounds like a fun, thrilling time. From Ballantine Books, I have Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson. This is the author of Black Cake, which I loved, and I've been hearing fantastic things about this one. We are following a young woman. As a child, her brother was killed, and her family has done their best as the only Black family in a white neighborhood to stay out of the spotlight, and then things happen that put them back in the spotlight. From One World, I received Defy, the Power of No in a World That Demands Yes by Dr. Sunita Saw. This one sounds like it should be a really interesting and empowering read. From St. Martin's Press, I have Slayers, Every One of Us, How One Girl in All the World Showed Us How to Hold On. I am a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, so of course I asked for a copy of this one. This is by Kristen Russo and Jenny Owen Youngs, and they are the podcast hosts for Buffering the Vampire Slayer, so I'm intrigued to see what their take on this is. From Scribner, I have Einstein in Time and Space, A Life in 99 Particles by Samuel Graydon. This is a biography of Einstein, and definitely someone that we all know the name of, but finding out a little bit more about him sounded really interesting. Another upcoming April release from Tor Nightfire, I have Cold Eternity by S.A. Barnes. I absolutely loved my first book from this author and have been eagerly anticipating this new one coming out. It says no one gets out alive, and that cover definitely has cold, creepy vibes. I have this one on my 25 and 25 bingo card for a seasonal read, I think it was, because cold season definitely feels like the right time to read this. This one says it is space horror, which usually works pretty well for me, and it combines dystopia and AI, and all of those are things that definitely are buzzwords for me. From Scribner, I have Seeking Shelter, A Working Mother, Her Children, and a Story of Homelessness in America by Jeff Hobbs. I work in the homeless services industry. My company specifically serves adults with mental illness in the homeless sphere, but definitely anything homeless related piques my attention, and especially given the way politics have been going lately and the threat to freeze all funding to programs like homeless programs, definitely this is one I'm looking to pick up soon. I have a chunky beast from Knopf, and that is A Century of Fiction in the New Yorker, 1925 to 2025, and it is big, but this is my year of reading shorter fiction and making sure I get to more of it, so Knopf wanted to make sure that I had plenty to read. Also from Knopf, I have Unworld by Jason Green, and this is an upcoming release due out in June. The back just says, what happens to your soul when it's splintered by grief? Where does love reside except in memory? How do you escape from your own mind? And it is a literary suspense according to the description in here, and I'm intrigued to check this out. Things related to memory and consciousness definitely catch my attention. And lastly, for my gifted books, I have Exadelic by John Evans, and this one says, when an unconventional offshoot of the US military trains an artificial intelligence in the dark arts that humanity calls black magic, it learns how to hack the fabric of reality itself. That immediately has me intrigued. And then moving on to books I purchased, looking at the stack behind the camera, I feel the need to remind myself, and possibly you, these are books purchased from the end of December all the way through mid-February, so it's not maybe as bad as it looks, maybe. So let's just go ahead and get into them. Okay, I dropped a book on the tripod, so angle most likely has changed. First up, I have The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. This is the author of The Midnight Library, which I did enjoy, and this was the book that Once Upon a Book Club put into its New Year's box, I believe it was, and therefore I picked it up for that. Following a woman who inherits a house on an island, and she just decides to kind of drop everything and go, and the story ensues from there. And I have a couple of gorgeous books from Illumicrate. First off, Hamajong Luck by Makana Yamamoto, and this is super, super pretty. Lots of foiling to blind you with that. Signed on the inside. End papers. You get hardcover. Do I actually know anything about the book? No, but it's pretty. It says it's Ocean's 8 meets Blade Runner in this trailblazing debut science fiction novel and swashbuckling love letter to Hawaii about being forced to find a new home and striving to build a better one. Definitely intrigued by that. Also from Illumicrate, I have Until We Shatter. Another really pretty one. Definitely a darker palette to this one. Signed on the inside. End papers. And really, really pretty naked hardcover as well. This one says it is an action-packed epic heist fantasy from the author of Mindwalker. I did enjoy Mindwalker, so have hopes for this one as well. From Twisted Retreat, I received Every House is Haunted by Ian Rogers, and this one has sprayed edges on it as well. quite the standout end paper there. More blood on the other one, and I really like that. Make it hardcover as well, and reversed dust jacket art. Also, this one says, there are haunted places in the world, all existing in reality, and every bit as tangible and accessible as the house next door. Sometimes it is the house next door. So, very much looking forward to a spooky time with this one. And then from Fairy Loot, I have Courting of Bristol Keats. That one has some really gorgeous edges as well. Plain blue on the top. Gorgeous art on the end papers and on the dust jacket as well. In this one, we're following the title character, Bristol Keats, and her sisters are struggling to stay afloat. She starts getting letters from her aunt and learns that her father might still be alive, just kidnapped by some creatures, and she sets out, I think, to rescue them. I don't know, but I will find out. Another book from Once Upon a Book Club box is Eddie Winston is Looking for Love by Marianne Cronin. I started this one when I had an arc for it, but I did learn that they were going to be sending this in a box, and when you get one of these Once Upon a Book Club boxes, you get to open gifts as you are reading through the book. So I kind of decided to hold off on finishing the book until I could open the gifts as I went. And this one should be a lot of fun. It's a older character who has never been kissed, meets a young woman who learns this and sets out to change it. So it seemed like it was going to be a really heartwarming read. And I do have a discount code for this particular book box. It's DG Reads 10 for a discount on your first order. If you're ever interested in checking it out, they send a variety of different genres, and I always have a good time discovering new books. In preparation for the new installment in the Bone Season series, I've been rereading all of the books to get myself reacquainted with everything. So the final one that's already out is The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. I've been having a fantastic time with these books. It's a series that I really love, and as I've been reading them, I'm picking up the new editions that came out, so I actually have a matching set now, and I'm super excited for the new book to come out soon. And then another edition from Illumicrate, I have Water Moon by Samantha Soto-Yambao, and this one is, again, super gorgeous. And it's a book I've been hearing good things about, so I'm eager to check it out as well. That's really pretty. And the tagline in this one just says, would you rewrite your destiny if it meant losing a part of your past? From an offshoot of Illumicrate, I have my Evernight book, and this is Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker, and I am looking forward to checking this one out. It's one that was already on my radar when they announced it as a pick, and I think got a lot of interesting stuff going for it. The original, I think, UK cover is under here as well. I don't really know a lot about the story, but it says Cora is a crime scene cleaner. The blood doesn't bother her because she already witnessed her sister being pushed in front of a train, but the killer was never caught, and Cora is still haunted by his last words, Bat Eater. So, very intrigued. And then from Fairy Loot, we have A Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson, and I love a good dragon cover, so that intrigues me right off the bat, plus the sprayed edges. Some foiling on the end papers as well. Dragon as well. It's really cool how they got, not sure how well it's showing up, but how they got the naked hardcover and the undercover art kind of line up and make the full dragon. This one says, it's set in London, 1923. Dragons soar through the skies and protests erupt on the street. But Vivian isn't worried. She's going to follow the rules and get an internship studying dragon languages. By midnight, Viv has started a civil war. So, interested in this one. And then I got a set of 2 books that I had to immediately order. I've got Son of the Poison Rose by Jonathan Mawberry and The Dragon in Winter. And I actually finished both of these this last week because I read the first one, Kagan the Damned, during what was supposed to be a reading challenge, but I absolutely loved it. I included it in my favorite books of the year and immediately ordered 2 more. And finally this week got around to binging both of those and finishing off the series. I had a fantastic time with this particular series. It begins with Kagan. He is drugged, and while he's drugged, the children that he is tasked with protecting are killed, and he kind of goes off the rails, as one might assume. He's been damned. He's been turned on by the gods, and ultimately there are reveals in that book that launch a lot of different things in these follow-up books. Following his and a couple other POVs, I really got to love the characters around him and the story in general, and I'm glad that I was able to kind of binge read these last 2 books and just keep myself enmeshed in this world. And then I just received from Illumicrate a set of books, Iron Widow and Heavily Tyrant. These are the first book and sequel in the Iron Widow series, and they are gorgeous editions. This originally came in an Illumicrate box, and while it was a special edition, they redid it to make it a lot more pretty, a lot more special. And there has been some debate over whether they should make you repay for the book. But honestly, the first book was just okay. It was an older one, therefore there wasn't a lot special going on with it, but I really like this edition so much better, so I will unhaul my original one, and this was just a little bit of a splurge for me to pick this up because these just are going to look really gorgeous on the shelf. I kind of feel like I need to reread Iron Widow a little bit. It's just gorgeous art and foiling because it's been so long since book one came out, but I'm happy to be able to kind of read them maybe back to back, binge the full duology, I'm assuming it's a duology, and finish off the books together. For my book of the month box this month, I picked up a few different things. And first off, I have Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. I've been in the mood for some propulsive thrillers, fun, just kind of turn your brain off and go for a ride type books, and I'm hoping that is what this winds up being. It says, one morning he's your husband, by nightfall he's a criminal, and these are his famous last words. And then one I've been eagerly awaiting is Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. This one is the sequel to The Crimson Moth or Heartless Hunter, depending on which version of the book you have. I had both because I didn't realize they were the same book at first, if I'm being honest. But this one is actually coming out as I'm filming this next week, and it's on my Romantasyathon TBR. I really should have known I wasn't going to make it through this whole thing on one battery, so the angle has most likely changed. So, continuing with my book of the month box, I also got The Three Lives of Kate K by Kate Fagan. In this one, a author who has been anonymous is revealing secrets about her past and why she's been on the run. This is one I've had several friends really enjoy, so I decided to add it onto my box. And then I did a little bit of damage on last month's box as well. I picked up A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall, and this is an author I've really enjoyed from before, mostly her YA books, and this one is a thriller that is adult, so I'm eager to pick this one up. And then from Nightworms, I received Feast While You Can by Michaela Clements and Anjuli Dada. I don't know really anything about this, but the tagline 100% has me intrigued. It says, the monster's touch was cold like wet rock, soft like the sandstone her ancestors had used to build their homes, chalky fingertips, tucking her damp hair behind her ears, petting at her sore scalp as if it were sorry. So there's something weird going on in this one. And then also from Nightworms was Beneath the Poet's House by Krista Carmen. This one just says, in the house where Edgar Allan Poe once fell in love, she's found inspiration and fear. So we're following a woman who's reeling from her husband's death, it sounds like, and she goes to this house, I'm guessing. So I look forward to checking it out. From Twisted Retreat, I received The Elric Undoing by Cassandra Celia. This is an author I've read from before and liked, didn't necessarily love, but I do really like this edition. Got ghost in a house on the back there, and then wallpapery end papers, and a really cool naked hardcover as well, and some art under there too. Main character, it says, received an unexpected letter from her estranged deceased grandmother. Her mother immediately threatens her life at the very mention of the contents, and so she flees, escaping to the mysterious town of Elric to her inheritance. So definitely sounds like it could be a creepy good time. No real shock to anyone, I picked up Onyx Storm, which of course is the Pretty Dragon Sprayed Edge edition. I've already read this one. I read it immediately upon it coming out and really enjoyed it for the most part. It wasn't quite as hard-hitting as I expected it to be, but I had a fantastic time binging it over a couple of days. While Pango was doing a promotion for a few things, I picked up a few books, and one of them was A Talent for Murder by Pete Swanson. This one popped up on a couple of best of the year type lists, and this is an author that can be hit or miss for me, but I definitely am intrigued to check this one out. Because I wanted the free shipping, I added on, also by Peter Swanson, The Christmas Guest. I heard good things about this one this year during the holiday reading season. I will be setting it aside till next holiday reading season, but I will look forward to it. And then another one from Twisted Retreat, I have Necrology by Meg Ripley, and this is another, of course, pretty edition. I like the embroidery theme going on in here, and that is just creepy and interesting right there. On the inside, the blurb just says, "My spirit is a mighty oak that just won't fall." That tells me nothing, but I will read it and find out what it's all about. And last but not least, I picked up a couple of sequels that I'm using for Romantasyathon, and the first of those is City of Mirth and Malice by Alexis L. Menard. I really loved House of Bane and Blood, and am eager to pick this one up this week. I don't know what I'm doing to myself picking all these chunky books for Romantasyathon, but we're gonna do our best to make this work. And then last but not least, I picked up To Shadow the Night by Catherine Quinn, and this is the sequel to Kill a Shadow. This is a book that plays with light versus dark, with creepy things in the forest, and I really had a good time reading the first book during a weekend reading challenge, and I wanted to pick this one up. It does have pretty sprayed edges. The first one had purple, this one had blue, and the back is also gorgeous. They just really did a fantastic job with the cover design of these. So that's my mountain of books. Turn use and see how much I could be killed any moment by a collapsing tower. With that, I will go ahead and wrap this up here. Let me know in the comments below, are any of these on your TBR? Have you already read any of them? Or let me know what your most recent exciting book mail was. I have a feeling I'm actually missing a few books here because I waited so long to film a haul that I wound up reading some of the books and putting them in various TBRs. So let's just pretend this is all of them. And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, I think a stack of books would be the perfect emoji if you could leave that for me in the comments. If you could hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate that as well, and subscribe if you're interested in more of my book hauls, my reading some of these books, and seeing if I survive if these books fall over on me, or my bookish content in general. But for now, I'll leave you here and see you real soon in a new video.